the Portuguese, and then the Dutch, and then the British. But since 1948, Sri Lanka has been an independent country. And yeah, so Sinhalese is the main ethnicity in Sri Lanka with just over 60%. And then we have our Tamil ethnicity and Muslim. And we also have a few other sub-ethnicities. We even have Farsis who are from originally from Persia. So yeah, in terms of religion, we have all the major religions. So it's like a one-stop shop for all cultures. Let's get on to the next slide. Over here, you see a picture. This is one of the hotels at night. So Colombo is known for having all these five-star city hotels. And up until about 2 or 3 years ago, people used to come and stay in the city hotels and not do anything, just loiter around in the hotels. So in terms of the origins of Colombo, there are some scripts that are even mentioned in the Bible back in the day, because if any of you have heard of King Solomon, King Solomon used to be very fond of cinnamon oil, and cinnamon, original like Ceylon cinnamon, is endemic to Sri Lanka. So it is believed that the port of Tarshish, which they thought which they would get their cinnamon from, was the port of Colombo. Here we have what the port of Colombo used to look like during the Dutch colonized period. It's very, very different now. As you can see, this is pretty much what it looks like now. What you see in the back is the existing Colombo city, and what you see in that sandy area is a new reclaimed part of Colombo, which we call the Colombo port city. And this is what, hopefully, if everything works out, this is what Colombo port city would look like in about 10 years. So I'm going to get into basically a few of the things we do now. As you can see, like looking at me, you can tell that I love my food, and one of the experiences I host is called the Colombo Food Coma. This is something I'm really proud about because on some of our online platforms, we are the highest rated food tour in South Asia. This was just started off as a pilot project just to see how far I can take this, and in the 2 years that we did run it until the pandemic hit, this was one of our best experiences. So what is unique about the Food Coma is, like I said before, Colombo is where all the ethnicities are. It's where everybody gels together. So we have different ethnicities, different cultures, and what those bring is different kinds of food. But then we have one city which tries to fuse all these foods and make it even better. So in our food tour, we usually start off at a bar where we have a local drink, a local alcoholic beverage called arak. It's not the same as the arak you get anywhere around Asia. Sri Lanka is the only country who makes arak out of coconut toddy. This is a tree sap taken from the coconut tree. It's a beautiful drink. Believed to be the oldest distilled spirit in the world. And yeah, from there we head on to a place called Galface Green, which was in the first slide you saw, which is famous for its street food, and we start sampling some really unique stuff there. Now, I mean, these berries, those fruits in the back, I know a lot of people like sweet fruits, but we love to take our sweet food and add a lot of spice to it. So they would add from chili to vinegar to pepper into these fruits to just give you that tang and make it hit all of your senses. A little bit of rotis. Now, I mean, all of you, I'm assuming, would have gone to an Indian restaurant and had a selection of rotis. But as a religion, we have one of our foods here is called kottu roti, which is basically a mix It's rotis cut up, and they put everything in there from your proteins, your meats, your veggies. They add some cheese, and this is one of our groups having some kottu roti. This, like I said before, is a religion in Sri Lanka. It's what you go and have after a heavy night of partying, after a tired day's work. This is the street food that everyone grabs on their way home. So if you're coming to Sri Lanka, you have to come for the kottu. That's about it for the food scene. Let's talk about our economical nerve center, which is called Coma. This area is pretty much like an extremely large supermarket where you have lots of streets, but each street is specific to selling one kind of thing. So when you go to your supermarket, you get different aisles, and down one aisle you'll get your spices and your sauces and all of that. Over here you'll have one street for textiles, one for electronics, one for onions, like an entire street. So I mean, a tour through this, because the history of this dates back more than 500 years, and these traders have come down from generation. I'll give you a little bit of a backstory onto how Colombo came to be. So these busy streets that you see now used to be an economic trade center, an economic trade hub, even 600 or 700 years ago, where people from the Arab nations, the Malays, the North Indians, and the South Indians, they came and they used to trade at the Colombo harbor. So this area is right next to the harbor. What's significant about it is it's gone through, I mean, it's the economic trade center, and it has gone through different colonizations, where during those times, for example, when the Dutch arrived, they put up certain walls and forts and all of that, and acquired a certain amount of land. When the Dutch came, what they did was they actually evicted Colombo. So this city that had been running for centuries was just evicted, and they took control of the entire area. Keep this story in mind. I'll come back to what the significance of this was in a few slides to come. So going back to the area, it's from markets to the people that work there. I mean, this is a typical mode of transport through those streets, because taking something in a lorry right up to a street is completely impractical with the crowds. So like you saw in the previous slides, from textiles to onions to dried fish, this place has got it all. You want to buy the latest iPhone? You can get it from here. Again, here we have a picture. Just I wanted to put this in here to show you how far back the history dates. You see a guy in his onion shop, and you'll see a cupboard at the back. That cupboard is actually a safe from Austria, which dates back to the 15th century. And it is also one of the prominent places when you're traveling through Asia to get all your knockoffs. Even if it's for a joke, you can go and get all your knockoff apparels and shoes from this area. Okay, so the next few slides is something that me and my business partner, we put a lot of work into create, because right now nobody in Sri Lanka is doing this. We do have a little bit of royal history in Colombo. There's a city called Srijayawathanapura Court, which was the second before the last kingdom in Sri Lanka. And what's interesting about this place is you'll find ruins and you'll find houses right next to them. It's a completely ignored, area which has a beautiful story. It has a beautiful history to it, and we do a mountain biking tour right through the entire kingdom, looking at all the ruins. I'll tell you a little bit of a story now. This is right behind Colombo. So from where you saw the previous slides, it's about 7 kilometers. But when the Portuguese arrived and they wanted to meet the king, they were taken for 3 days through the jungles, through, past rivers. They were taken around and around and around and finally brought to the king. So they thought they had come somewhere really far until they heard their own cannons firing back in the harbor. So that's when they realized how close it was and they had been tricked. But yeah, let's go on to the nooks and crannies. I mean, here we have two of the graves belonging to what is believed to be the king and the queen at the time. We also have special access into there's a school in the area, and as a tourism company, it's not very easy, but our company has special access to go and see some of the ruins that are in the school area. How cool is that? I mean, imagine if you grew up in a school that was part of ancient civilization. Over here, you'll see one of the political headquarters buildings, one of the political parties, and right on the side of it is one of the moats. You'll see an officer from the archaeology department who accompanies us in all our tours. So this is what my city is about. It's everything, from the food to the people. It just keeps giving. From temples, watch this, to granite kovils, to churches, all within maybe a 200 or 300 meter distance. This is what you will find. This is, again, I reiterate, what is special to me about Colombo. It's how our cultures coexist. So now I hope you guys remember the story I told you about how the Dutch colonizers evicted Colombo. So when they evicted Colombo, the Muslim community and the Tamil community, the Indians who were in Sri Lanka at the time, who were on good terms with the Dutch, got 2 streets. Now, apart from that, everything else was taken. Then come the British, and the British wanted to win the people's hearts over. So they started giving people their land back. And the building you see here is the famous Red Mosque. It was used as a landmark for ships back in the day in the 1800s. It was built by bringing architects from India. This was a gift from the British government to the Muslim community. And they did this because when the Dutch took the land, they took a mosque, and the Muslims didn't have a mosque in the area. So this was given on a more prominent street. So you wouldn't see a red and white mosque very often, but the red and white colors are because, this is amazing, it's because they had so much gratitude for the governor at the time that they used the colors of the British flag on their mosque. Now, if that is not an example of unity and gratitude and amazing culture blending together, I can't come up with a better example. So these are things that we have in Colombo, and they stand for freedom. They stand for overall a great time. And yeah, more nooks and crannies. We're always full of our dodgy bars. Now these places, I mean, they are the dodgiest of dodge, but they're safe, they're clean. The best to go and grab a beautiful glass of arak at the end of your day or at the beginning of your trip. So I really look forward to seeing everyone back in Sri Lanka now that our doors are open. I really hope you guys connect with us in future. You can get any information you want through the team here. So that's about it for us. I hope you have any questions. So I think it's time we can all unmute our mics now, and if you have any questions, just fire it at me, please.
So if you all have any questions, this is the time you can raise them and clarify.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
It's Clermont from Paris. Thanks for the presentation. I really appreciate to know more about our island, which is Sri Lanka. And I wanted to know if it would be possible to get what you have just proposed to us, presented us on a link so that we can follow that to our travel agents, if it would be possible.
Of course, of course.
Okay, thanks so much. And have a nice day, but I'm still waiting for others to have a little chat if they ask for anything.
Okay, no problem at all. Thank you. Thank you so much.
We will be sharing the link of the recording of this presentation to you. And if you have any further clarifications to be made, you could always write to us on the email addresses on the newsletter or the invite we have sent you all. And if there aren't any questions, I think the best is we can share the link and y'all can refer the presentation once again. And then if you have thereafter, if you come across any doubts or clarifications, please reach out to us and we can clarify them for you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we hope to see you all once again with our next webinar. And thank you so much for joining us this afternoon and hope you all have enjoy the rest of the day.
Have a nice weekend.